God, what is up with the fucking price of bread? It is $4 for a loaf now. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we don't buy that much sliced bread anymore. Because we don't eat that much bread actually, which is kind of weird. But when we do, we go to this. We have like a little it's called sourdough,
Right?
And they do just sourdough breads every morning.
Oh, really?
And we go there. Yeah, it's great. It's a little pricey.
We eat a fair amount of bread. Like like especially like on the weekends, I'd be like, I don't feel like cooking. I'm just gonna make some grilled cheeses for lunch, and boom, that's it. You know.
Yeah, a little pricey.
Milk is the one thing we don't drink. Like we do not consume milk in this house. It's so weird. Like I bought a half gallon of milk literally just for milk and cookies, and it has lasted like a month. We actually end up getting rid of milk more than we end up drinking it because we don't none of us drink it. So
yeah, it's funny you say that because like we don't either. Like every now and then we get on what happened to the stream?
Now eggs.
Every now and then we get into like a cereal binge or we want cereal, but that's about it.
See, that's the thing. Teresa doesn't like cereal, and it's like and it's like if we're ever having breakfast, we're both eating whatever the same thing is. So she doesn't like cereal, so like I'm not gonna,
You're SOL.
Yeah.
All right, we are live.
Now eggs, we go through eggs like water. Thankfully, eggs are still relatively cheap. So
yeah, we haven't since we've been getting HelloFresh. We haven't done eggs as often, but eggs was like a big thing, especially for me. Kristen doesn't like it that much, but like I fucking love eggs.
No, I mean I'm okay with eggs. Teresa could eat eggs all goddamn day. She's like fucking Gollum with those things. But like
my precious.
But like yeah, we finally made a decision. We're off of Nutrisystem. It's just way too expensive. It's $400 for a 2-week meal plan.
For 2 weeks?
For 2 weeks, it's $400. Well, it was like $370 something, and you're getting like no food, and I'm like, we can't do this, not in this economy, like.
Yeah, right.
Like
yeah, I mean, like, HelloFresh is not necessarily the cheapest, but it's almost like we used to spend like $350 a month, and we spend like $400 a month.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
$50.
Yeah, that's kind of at the point where we're at. Like now, like I went to Sam's Club.
But they're good meals.
Oh, yeah. I'm not bashing on that. See, that's the thing. Nutrisystem was not good meals. It was garbage food. I hated it, and it was like fucking 300 calories for dinner. I'm like, okay, I get it, but like,
I mean, you lose weight. Either you lose weight or you lose weight.
Yeah, and it just kind of made you like miserable. Like I did lose a ton of weight. Like I'm much more lighter than I was like a year or so ago. But I'm like, I hate food now.
Nah.
And I don't want to get to that point. But like I went to Sam's Club and got some groceries, and it was like $200, and it was like and it was enough to get us through like the next like week and a half. And I'm like, that's a lot better than $370 for fucking microwavable chicken parm that tastes like shit.
Yes, yeah. Well, I mean, I can see that.
Yeah,
it's $400 for 2 weeks. That's a little intense.
Yeah, and it was ridiculous. And naturally, because it was a subscription, they would just automatically tack it on, and it would be the worst possible time they would charge my credit card. Like I'd be like almost paying it off. Up $400 charge. Fucking great.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. All right, are you ready?
Yeah, let's do this.
Here we go.
Hold on.
3, 2, 1. Wait, what are we doing?
No. Keep going.
All right. And welcome to another episode of A Talk of Opportunity. This is your host, Jose. And with me, as always, my co-host, Andrew. I was about to say your last name, but then I figure people can find you online, and that'll be an issue there.
You can't hear it, but I'm listening to music that I can't play because it's licensed. I'm kidding. I'm not. I wouldn't be that. I wouldn't be that rude.
Wow, so rude.
I don't. I just said I didn't do that.
I just have Valhalla on the side, so just keep talking while we record. Oh man, but yes.
I'm just playing Valhalla. Eivor, you're a woman now. What?
Oh snap!
Wait, no, now you're a guy. Wait, hold on.
I'm so confused. Yes. Yeah. Welcome to Talk of Opportunity, a podcast all about tabletop video games, Dungeons and Dragons and role playing and board games, and sometimes we talk about random shit. We've been getting better about that. Like before it was like Dungeons and Dragons all the way through. But the last few episodes have been a step out of the norm.
Because we're running out of things to talk about.
No, we're not. I'm just lazy, okay? But today we're talking about something that we all struggle with as DMs and players.
Erectile dysfunction. I mean, railroad.
Wait, what?
But now you don't have to struggle. Go to roman.com/talk about. I'm kidding.
Yes, out of all the sponsorships, that's the one that's gonna.
Hey man, it's better than fucking smooth my balls. So I'll take it.
Any day. Oh man, no, we're not talking about that. We're talking about railroading. Yes, railroading, the most exciting of all topics for D&D because you've experienced it. I've done it.
I've done it too. We all done it.
It's the what is it called? It's the thing that nobody wants to talk about, but like we all are in agreement that it happens.
Yeah, it's that thing that nobody really wants to talk about. Oh, never mind. I'm about to say something really dark. Don't worry about it. Let's move on.
All right, let's play the music when we come back.
You have to let me go.
No, Andrew, no. Okay, we're back.
You look around, you're in a padded cell, like what?
This new headphones I got are actually like a head,
yeah,
a head protector, like a helmet.
Yeah.
Myself. Oh,
and there's a psychiatrist like, fascinating, like making notes and stuff. You're just like, welcome back to Attack of Opportunity. Welcome back to Attack of Opportunity.
It's weird. Every other Sunday and Wednesday.
Every Wednesday and sometimes a Sunday. It's weird. It's inconsistent. We won't talk about hags. It's so weird.
So far, he hit all the major points. Somebody's like,
but if you talk about hags, he recedes.
Oh wow.
We will talk about hags one day, whether you like it or not.
No. I don't want to do research. Leave me alone.
Mordecai and Sums of the Foes. Look.
No.
Look at this book. Look at the facts.
I don't like research. That's why I have you here. You're the big brain time.
Oh my god, that's why. Is that why I'm going to become like the permanent DM now?
No, that's because you're taking a year and a half already.
I don't see you complaining. Okay, people seem to be enjoying this campaign.
That's a keyword. Seems.
Well,
we actually have a separate chat where we just talk shit.
No, that's not helping my imposter syndrome.
Oh man! All right, Andrew.
Okay.
The topic for today is railroading.
Now, speaking of railroading, I want you to make a decision for me. I have 2 drinks here, and I want you to roll a D4 to determine which one I'm going to drink.
Oh, yeah, the D4. Hold on. I have one, definitely, right here, and I'm definitely not typing in roll a D4. It's a 2.
A 2?
Thank you, Google.
All right, here we go. All right. Now.
Holy shit, you're going hard with a ring, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need a heart.
No, I don't. You should have seen what the other choice was.
What was it, a bag?
C4!
Oh my god. The Skittles one's actually pretty good. I am a little under the weather, so I've just been flushing my system with water, and that's what I'm here today.
I'm also flushing my system.
With chemicals.
Yeah. With a shit ton of 300 milligrams of caffeine. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, I've made a huge mistake.
Dude, rain gets me so hyper. It's ridiculous.
I'm kind of hoping it carries me through this episode of the podcast. Let's do this thing.
All right, Andrew.
Yeah.
Railroading. What is your definition of railroading?
Okay, so railroading is a concept where you as a DM, you have an end goal, right? Like you have the quest, like playthrough kind of in your mind, the plan for said quest. However, because D&D is a game where you can do anything you want, anything up to your imagination, naturally what the A, B, and C's of your plan are not going to go to spec. So what you would have to do is that you have to come up with ways to kind of guide your players through the quest line that you have rigorously set up, and so it'll have to be something like you have to find the gem of Indar or some crap like that, and it's in this cave that's in a mine somewhere. But your players are like, oh, I just froze.
No, you're good.
Okay, never mind. My Discord feed froze. Oh, there it goes. Cool.
Oh, that froze it.
Okay.
Oh, now you're back. There you go.
All right, so like you have to like find this gem that's in like a lost mine or some crap like that. But your players, for some reason, want to hunt this. Like they heard a rumor of a legendary bear in the woods. So like, oh, you know what? Fuck that gem. We want to get that bear pelt. So you're like, crap. Okay. How do I?
It's like, oh no, the trees around you keep falling.
Yeah.
Pushing you in this one.
Oh, it's so weird. The wind keeps blowing you in the direction of this mine and stuff like that. So, I mean, so railroading is essentially you take this world, this conceptual world that exists separately within your head and the player's head, and then you put metaphorical rails on it. So that way you are more or less forcing your players to follow the quest line that you have set up.
Yeah.
Now the idea of railroading can be as small or as big as you want it to be. Like I have heard of whole campaigns being railroady. Like you'll see that term thrown around a lot, railroady, depending on like who you talk to and stuff like that. I know I tend to use that word a lot. But then sometimes it could be just as small as you go into a room and the door locks behind you, Legend of Zelda style. So it's like, okay, we are literally forced to go one direction, you know?
Right. So. Yeah, and I think So yeah, you're correct. That's what was in my mind. I always attribute like the term railroading. Attribute it to for some reason the image of like on rails shooters come to mind.
Yeah.
Like, you don't really have an option to where you want to go other than like maybe left or right, but then like it keeps pushing you forward.
Yeah.
So there's, I think a lot of people when they hear railroading, they automatically say that it's a bad thing, and I don't necessarily believe that that's true.
No, I don't think. It depends. I think at the end of the day, thank you Windows Security for telling me I don't have any threats. Anyways, at the end of the day, railroading is not something you can avoid. I think it's. I wouldn't even go so far as to say it's a necessary evil. I would honestly say that when you get players at the table and you're doing like a session 0, I think it's like a weird like non-verbal contract, or it might even be like a verbal like contract saying like, hey, there eventually will come a point where you have to do this, you know, this is gonna, you know, like this might happen kind of thing. And a good and it kind of also denotes what a good player is, because like at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10 you know that your quest is going to have like a starting quest that kicks everything off. There's going to be like a mid campaign like climax kind of thing, and then it's more 9 times out of 10 it's going to end with a big bad evil guy fight. Right. So like your players have that going in mind. So if your players go into a game that you've already done a session 0 for, and then try to go like in the opposite direction, like that's kind of on them too, you know. Yeah. So it's weird because railroading can be bad if you deliver it as such, but there are ways to disguise it. But it's also kind of on the players to be like, okay, obviously the DM is trying to set something up.
Right.
Let's, you know, and
let's not be assholes about it.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, like when I first ran D&D and I did the Lost Mines of Phandelbert, like it wasn't necessarily railroady, but like it was very straightforward. Like there was nothing in that book outside of Fendelber.
Yeah,
Like,
the book the adventure straight up starts with you coming across the remnants of an ambush, and then you get ambushed, and then you have to follow goblin tracks. Like, it is the most cliche thing, but as a player, you're expecting that. Like, you're okay, like, here are the breadcrumbs, kind of a thing. Now the question is, how well do you hide that? That kind of, how well do you hide that, and how well as a DM do you not flounder when the players go against what you're trying to set up? And
correct.
and sometimes that might not be because the players are being like bad players. That might be because you hit the track so well that they actually don't know what to do, and they're just trying to search for options.
Yeah, nothing.
You know?
Definitely doesn't happen to us in Rhyme at all.
No, and no. See, there are rails on Rhyme, but it is so open world that it's like you have to find the rails first, and then you will go on that railroad part. So
and that's kind of like, sorry,
no,
it's just kind of like the total up, in my opinion, the total opposite of actually like a railroad adventure. Like, you have like Out of the Abyss, who the whole beginning of it is literally like a cave pushing you forward. You can't go left or right. Like, it's just like straight.
Yep.
And then you have Rhyme, that is just the most open world out there. With like it's like the rails system there is like in Disney World, where they like put like that, what is it, go away green, like, don't go to that direction, like that kind of like psychological, like, oh no, not that way. And because like if you think about it, like, you cannot really have a truly open world adventure.
You really can't, unfortunately. I mean, you can only if your DM is like a master of improv and just coming up with stuff on the fly, and like knows the rules inside and out, or at least is so good at coming up with rules on the fly that they can just, and unfortunately I have yet to reach that level. I honestly don't know if I can, because that's like a full-time DM deal.
Yeah, for sure.
And so having a truly open world campaign, like, you can try to do it, but eventually your resources, or maybe lack thereof, are going to come to an end, and you'd be like, okay, look, you guys need to do this. But I mean, but like you said that Rhyme is probably the most open world game, and it kind of is, and that's why I said, like, session 0, hey, this is an investigation. Like, this is a huge investigation. So you, as the players, have to kind of piece together, the thing, like, explore the area, like, go to separate towns, blah, blah, and then eventually things will kind of funnel, So that's just the nature of that game. And so it would kind of lose a lot of its luster to me if it's just like, no, you have to go here because I, as a DM, say, like, the blizzard blows you to East Haven because fuck you.
You lost your way. Like, oh, whoops, look at that, you're in East Haven.
Oh, hey, you're in the next quest line. But I mean, like, that's like what's it? Not Lost Mines and Found Ever. The one you just said, Out of the Abyss. Like, that's kind of, yeah, like that's like, railroading can also play into the atmosphere of an adventure, because like Round of Frost made its open world because it's literally just open tundra. Like, you can just go out and just die in that white hell of Icewind Dale. But Out of the Abyss, it starts out really railroady because a cave it's really railroady. Like, a cave in of itself, you go forward or back, and you might find those little tiny holes you can kind of like squeeze into, but then you'll probably die. I know I will, because I have severe claustrophobia. but I mean, so it also kind of establishes like a sort of like atmosphere. Like, I think Curse of Strahd did a really good job railroading the players in the very beginning, where it's like, here's this road. You go off the road, you will die in the choking fog. Okay,
little road.
Yeah, and then and eventually opened up, but it did a really good job using railroading to establish an atmosphere. And to me, that's good railroading. That's like okay, you can. Hey, look, he died. This is a horror campaign. Anybody can die, especially when you're level 1 to 3. So
yeah, and so So those are two good examples of railroading because yes, like out of the abyss, like it wasn't just like one cave that will push it forward, but it was literally just a chain of very obvious quests back to back that you had to follow, and like it made sense because you're like you're not a slave, you're a prisoner that escaped, and like this is the only way for you to move forward, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And for from the Curse of Strahd is the same thing. It's part of the atmosphere and it adds to it. Now, what are some bad examples of railroading?
Okay.
Because I listen to so many crit crabs. It's just like,
so I have a really good example of bad railroading that I saw firsthand. Okay. And I literally watched as this campaign just folded within like the first 15 minutes because the DM did not have the foresight to think around this.
So anyways, Waterdeep.
We had to like do some shit with like a pizza place. I'm like, fuck this pizza place. And then it blew up. I'm like, okay, I guess we'll investigate it because my brother. No. No, okay. So this was years back when I was playing 3.5. And what's it? The DM at the time asked/challenged one of us to try to DM a game because I think he was just sick of us like taking his games off the rails and ruining them. So somebody else did, and you could tell they never really came up with a campaign before because it was like it was bad. It was just like a bad adventure kind of a deal, and we were all playing as orcs for some reason. It was like an all orc game, and the deal was that we were supposed to deliver a message to the Orc King, and the DM at the time was playing a wizard, I think. And keep in mind, this was 3.5 rules, so orcs had a -2 to intelligence. So him playing an orc wizard was like a power move in and of itself. And so he's like, okay, do I know the king personally? And the then DM was like, oh yeah, you were like a court wizard, so you should know who he is. Okay, I'm gonna use the spell message. All right, we're done here. and then and by the rules, that was it. We were done. He sent the message, but then the DM was like, no, the message fails because the king is dead. Yeah, you have to deliver the you have to deliver the message to the king's son, who you don't know. And I'm like, really?
Dang.
I mean, like you could have just said the message fails, and then when someone be like, well, why? Well, that's
you gotta fight. Right. You keep the mystery.
Yeah,
they don't need to know that you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, I'm just like, dude, come on. And that was it. We were done. like the campaign, like literally the campaign was done. Like I think I was like, all right, I'm out of here. And then we just like stopped playing for the night.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's kind of like where it comes to like what defines like bad versus good railroading. It's like I think bad railroading is when something like that happens, and the DM just gets flustered and makes it very obvious that he's pushing the players to a specific direction.
Oh, and then and then there was a moment where like the player DM was targeting the DM throughout that session and was like sending things out to kill him. Like, dude, you're being super fucking obvious. Like, what's going on? It was honestly like a crit crab like story. And I'm like,
crap.
I'm like, you just stop. This is embarrassing. You know? And yeah, and so it was literally just like a one session thing. We're like, okay, you can go back to being the DM.
Do I know this person? Is it who I think it was?
You don't know who the DM is, but you might have known who the player was. So,
okay,
yeah. and if I were to say their name, it would be like, oh yeah, of course it's that. You know. So
yeah. I think I know who it is.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, it's funny because like I don't think I have like an actual like personal experience with railroading that hard. Like my railroading is just me sweating like if you hear me say multiple times, that's me trying to figure out how to like railroad
Yeah.
in a specific way.
And,
Because I'm just like,
and then,
you're supposed to go that way. Don't look at my shame.
oh man, that's like that time during Curse of Strahd where it's like I was so prepared for these guys to go to like this Druid Hill, and they're like, you know what? I want to check out this winery. Oh, okay, shit. And that's just where I straight up said, okay, look, guys, I did not prep for this. If you want to go, that's fine, but I just want to let you know we're both gonna find out what happens in this next area.
That's it's funny, but I think that was just literally like a miscommunication.
Yeah.
While we were like talking about where we're gonna go next, I think you took different like what we were thinking.
Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, cool. But I mean, you also.
Oh, the winery now is the other place I didn't want it to be.
Oh, weird. Spooky.
See, that's kind of why I like Descent into Avernus, because the map in Avernus was pretty much like that.
Oh yeah.
You think you think you're going this way? Like, oh, look at that!
So weird. A madman wrote it.
Who would have thought?
And I mean,
perfect.
And I mean, honestly, I could probably do that with Ryan. Be like, oh, there's a blizzard, and you get lost, and you end up, But like, I don't. Also, at the same time, like, I don't want to rob that agency from you.
And I think that's kind of like that's the key word right there, agency. Like, if you take that away from the players, that's when it becomes railroading, because like it's like the players couldn't have done anything.
Yeah.
And I think there's like railroading in the sense of like moving somebody forward in like the map, like the actual physical space of the game, and then like railroading as to like what the oh, I lost the word. It was there. Not the dialogue, the story. What?
The plot?
The what? No, yeah, the plot. It's not the plot. That's not what I was
narrative.
For. But that like narrative, yeah.
Okay.
Like railroading the narrative. I think that's even worse than railroading the physical aspect of it, like the actual map. Because like at that point, why are we even playing? We're just like doing what you want to do.
I think honestly the worst thing about like the railroady mindset is when you have that one character, and you know exactly what I'm talking about because it is in every single Wizards of the Coast campaign. You'll have that one character that is just the exposition character. That's literally all they do is they're just exposition. They'd be like, I'm going to tell you the whole history of like this area. Like, dude, no. like there are ways to take that and be like, okay, if you really want to do a really good job of like kind of hiding the rails to the point where it's like it's like a reward to find said rails. Like take that exposition dump and break it up, and then just kind of put sprinkle a little bit here, a little bit there, dig it into the lore and like the actual setting, so that way instead of having Expositor the wizard that tells you like oh hey, Avernus has been sunken into a blood war for the past millennia. No, just be like, okay, you see demons and devils fighting, and someone's like, oh, I thought they were both evil, and then that's when someone's like, no, hold on.
Right.
This is obviously like a offshoot of something crap like that, and just take those things and just kind of bury it into the setting a bit, so that way that exposition dump, it's like not exposition, it actually turns into like world building.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. And I think also it comes down to when the DM doesn't want the player. Not that it doesn't want the player, but the DM just want his story to be told.
Yeah.
Not the player's stories. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. There's
because it won't let the players like create things in the world, which I think that's part of the magic of D&D. Like it's not just you and your world. Like things happen. Like if we were in Avernus and like somebody mentions like, is there a town here that serves soup? Write it down.
Yeah,
like exactly. Yes, maybe there is a town that serves soup. Like I don't know, like you know what I mean, like that kind of thing. Like it's kind of dumb, but like it could lead to like a nice little like side quest story.
Yeah, oh yeah, there has definitely been, and I've honestly been guilty of this too. When I was like making like homebrew stuff, I'm like, wait a minute, I don't, like you have to kind of relinquish, not responsibility. What's the word I'm looking for? You got kind of like relinquish that control over the narrative. We're like, no, hold on.
Yeah.
The players are also going to be forming a narrative.
Yeah.
So it's really what you as the DM, like, yes, you do have narrative control. Like there is going to be, some kind of story, even if it's like an episodic adventure where it's like a monster of the week kind of deal. There's going to be a rising action, falling, blah, blah. But I mean, you also kind of have to let the players, like the players are going to be the catalyst for a lot of this, and they're going to be, the element that creates that story. And you need to relinquish that control. And if you, the worst possible thing as a DM, you could be like, no, your character does not do that. I'm like, no, fuck you if you say that as a DM, like, and I have been guilty of that, like in certain days. I've been guilty of that because I'm like, no, that's not how it played out in my head. They're like, well, it's never going to play out in your head the way, it. First of all, if we said this before, but create scenarios, not scenes, So you playing out a cutscene in of itself is railroady as hell.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Unless
100%.
Unless it's something where it's like a vision, like I've done the vision thing a lot in Rhyme because that's a really good way for me to like give information out to, but like also not have it be like it's going to directly affect the players. So that way it's like, boom, here's a vision. What happened? Oh, I don't know. You'll have to find out, So I mean,
figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's a good way to put it. I mean, if like the whole scenario thing, like if you set something up, the whole point of the game is to have players create or enhance that part of like your story.
Yeah,
it's not for them to do exactly what you had in mind. And there's so many like crit crap stories because I listen to them to decompress, I guess. That is that like the DMs just get so angry at the fact that, and then they start doing stupid shit like, oh, there's like level whatever monsters now attacking you, and like the CR levels are off the roof, or like, oh, the NPCs don't want to talk to you or don't want to like work with you to find out what a bad evil guy is.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point,
why?
Okay, where do you want me to go? Tell me, and I'll go there.
Yeah, like at that point, you made a video game. You did the lazy way of making a video game and/or / a book. Like that's. And let me tell you, to be perfectly honest with you, in terms of narrative wise, the personal stories you guys have going on in Rhyme is way better than the actual narrative of the story, actually. To the point that I'm kind of worried, like, oh, this is not going to happen.
The end.
Payoff. Like, I'll be like, that's it. That's the end. Have like a little popper, like.
It was literally the friendship we made along the way.
I kind of is at this point.
Yeah, we're gonna kill the bad evil guy. It's like, oh, okay, so what next?
Credits. Rhyme of the Frostbite. Directed by producer Guillermo del Toro. What the fuck?
What the hell? Where does that come? Oh my god, can you imagine if they have Guillermo del Toro guest write one story?
Oh, that would be no. I don't want. Well, maybe Dungeons and Dragons, Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, or Call of Cthulhu. Yeah, but just have him like kind of like how they did with FromSoft with George R. Martin. Yeah. Like, here, write the thing, and then we'll make all the mechanics happen.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be pretty sweet. But okay, so then let me ask you this: is there any time, like, what is a good usage? I know we kind of touched on it a little bit, but let's try to define some good usage of railroading.
Okay, so a good use of railroading. I don't. I'm trying to think of a good example right now. That's not going to like show my hand, kind of a thing.
Well, I don't think it has to be like a specific example. I think it can just be so. Like, for example, I think railroading sometimes is very extremely helpful specifically for new players.
Okay, so
because
no, go on, finish it.
No, because new players, I mean, they're very shy. They don't know what to do for the most part. They don't know the mechanics. Like, I had a player once that didn't know that she could just do whatever the hell she wanted to do. Like, literally, like, oh, I want to walk here and say this. Like, she didn't know that was the thing. So, like, early on in a started adventure, that I think railroading could help new players kind of like learn the ways of the game itself.
Oh yeah,
I think that's a good use of railroading.
oh yeah, definitely. I thought you were talking about how to better do railroading, but no, yeah,
No. Like good railroading versus bad railroading.
yeah, no, definitely. Like especially take a lesson from the Lost Mines of Phandelver. Like just be like, you see goblin tracks go into the woods, and then when someone's like, oh, well, what do we do? And just be like, you see goblin track, go into the woods.
Going into the woods.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the goblin arrows that have slain this horse are very close to goblin tracks. I mean, it just be like,
yeah. Literally push them in that direction.
But yeah, but I mean, the Lost Mines of Phandelver, I think personally, it's kind of overall like in terms of like the campaign's kind of a bland adventure, but it's also a very good tutorial adventure because it's like, it's like, okay, here is the start of a story, and then it's literally on the rails for a bit, and then you go into like a little mini dungeon, and then after that you go into a town. So it's like, okay, now we're going to deal with social settings,
and technically it's like it's more so like you said, like it's very like it's like very tight dungeon, and then a slightly open town. And then eventually you even go to like a slightly larger area.
Yeah, and so but if you're doing like a homebrew thing, like say like Lost Mines of Phandelver, I could do better than that. Okay, yeah, great, cool. Nobody cares, but
that's not the point.
Yeah, but if you want to establish rails at the beginning of a campaign, have that be part of your opening narrative. Have something like if you're doing an adventure where, I don't know, you have to. I don't know. Anyways, but just be like,
we're great DMs. We can come up with things on the spot.
I know the rain is actually making my brain short circuit. But no, if it's something where it's like oh, you have to take down like a crime boss or some crap like that. Okay, so you start out in a tavern. That's stereotypical. Yeah, it's stereotypical for a reason because it fucking works. But this be like in like your opening narrative. Just have it be like, oh, the city of Waterdeep, blah blah blah, but like in the what's it, the harbor district or the dock district? Like what's the crappy part of town?
The dock district.
Okay, Discord.
There you go. You're back. Oh no. I guess we're having technical difficulties.
Yep, Discord is not having fun with me. Anyways,
right, there you go. Okay. You're back. Hey, so you're the Doug district.
Okay, so say you're in a really crappy tavern in the dock district, and just have it describe how like someone like Xanathar, the Xanathar Guild has been really cracking down on like protection fees and stuff like that. And how the bartender is like, oh, we're gonna have to shut it down because I can't pay for these protection fees and stuff like that. So then like, okay, obviously the bartender knows something. So then you talk to the bartender, and the bartender could probably like, oh, these Janitor Guild bastards are ringing me for all I'm worth. And I don't know why he talks like that, but so then he can like show you the way there. So you lay the breadcrumb trail at the very beginning. Like that's the whole point of opening narrative,
Yep.
So
literally holding the player's hand. Yeah.
Yeah, at least for that little bit, because I personally am a big fan of the whole like, okay, it starts out on a rail and then it opens up. Like there'll be a moment where it's like, okay, you are past the opening cinematic and now here's the world for you.
When are we gonna get on that?
You have been the entire time.
We're still in the opening quest.
The opening quest took a lot longer than I thought it would, but that's not a bad thing.
I like to give you shit. No, I agree though. I agree 100%. I think for the most part, I think most books, at least the ones I've run, always have that like small quest in the beginning, and that is very not necessarily. Actually, yeah, it is quite railroady. Like,
yeah,
there's not a lot of explanation, and then you have like that big section in the middle. It's like, here's the whole sandbox of this campaign, and then you're like, oh shit, flipping back and forth, depending on where the players go. So yeah, I think in the beginning it's always a good usage. I think also, this has happened to me a couple of times when like the players are not picking up on clues. And it's like sometimes my brain wants to be like, oh look, a random person pops up and gives you the clue on this envelope.
I know, yeah.
You know what I mean? But like I've almost borderline done that sometimes. Like, and the thing is, the key there is that the players. I don't think you guys knew. I just put it there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, oh, you looked at the table, nothing there, and then you come back, oh, there's something on the table now. What is it?
It was there the whole time. Your passive perception is just garbage. It's me, Expositor. No, get away, get out. I thought I banished you. You can't banish Expositor with my plus 22 charisma save. God damn it. Anyways, hold on. Can I need to.
Unbelievable. Yeah. You're good. I'll just put us on. We'll be right back. Where do we left off? I forgot.
You left off on like how to like kind of exposition things in a way like characters are not picking up on clues.
Right, to railroad, yeah. To railroad in a good way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think overall railroading is kind of like it's a useful tool, but it's very easy to use it in the wrong ways,
right?
If that makes sense.
Well,
you have to be very careful. You have to have a good poker face for a lot of it,
mm-hmm.
especially as a DM. And I think the key to all of it is just not removing player agency at all.
Well, I mean, another thing you can do is that you have to remember player characters are not the only. First of all, they're not the only characters in the game. There are a bunch of characters in the actual game itself. But also, a lot of these characters, no matter how smallly written, how shallowly written they are, or whatnot, they also do have their own motivations. So you can use said motivations to kind of have sort of like a kickoff event that will, like maybe one character that you thought was previously friendly will do something like sort of like a betrayal kind of a thing, or maybe like another character like in a moment of desperation will like approach your party, be like, hey, look, I need this kind of a thing. Like I have done that, and I am currently doing that in this campaign. And if your player still can't pick up the hint, you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. If the player still can't pick up the hint, like then that don't punish your players for it. Just like I have gone out of my way to be like, okay, hey, don't forget, just pull back the curtain a bit. Like, because at the end of the day, it's a game. Like, you're not trying to pull a fast one on the players. Just pull back the curtain a bit. Like, hey, just to remind you, because I know there's a lot happened since you last seen this character. This player belongs to X society or whatever kind of a thing. So they might have answers on whatever, but I'm also not going to just the answers out. Like, it really all depends on what kind of questions you ask, kind of, So
that's kind of what, like, when I DM at the end of each game, I always ask if there's anything I can clarify on that happened on that session.
Yeah. So
it's fresh.
Yeah, and you always have to keep in mind what is completely different from what the players know. And that don't be afraid to ask for perspective or like, hey, is there anything you guys are confused on? Like, so that's fine. Like I said, the whole point, the whole goal is to not pull a fast one on the players. It's that we all form a narrative and we all have fun and stuff like that. So
yeah, this is a co-op game, not a V1v1.
No, and you really shouldn't approach it that way. So I mean, at the end of the day, you might, like your sense of like, my world building, like, okay, you know what? No one choked to death swallowing on their pride. You can pull back the curtain a bit and just be like, hey, you guys have to do this. Or you should really investigate X or something.
Yeah, like that, And I think it also comes down to the fact that, man, it comes down to the players too, because like, luckily our players, like they very well know, like, oh, we're starting a new adventure. Mm-hmm. Let's pick up on every hook. Yeah. Like we're expecting that. Like, I feel like there's so many stories out there of like you said earlier, like, oh, there is a criminal whatever happening here. Oh, let's go out of the city to the next town.
Why?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I mean, you could.
But then, as a DM, what you can do is that you can be like, oh, in the next town, even they're feeling the ramifications of this crime lord. So clearly, their sphere of influence is a lot bigger than I originally thought. This is a problem only us heroes can save. And then they all fucking die because they're level 1. But
I want to fight a dragon. I'm going the other way.
And then at that point you find out the dragon is under the crime lord's payroll. You're like, Jesus fuck, how much money does this guy have?
And it's after there's goldfish. That's a crime lord. Yeah. So yeah, I think there's good ways to do railroading for sure. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because like a lot of it also bleeds into sandbox.
Yes.
Right? Like you just plot, like we talked about sandbox, the style of games before, where you're like, it's just open ended, but you can, because the players don't know, you can literally like plot points from this town to this town, and then just change the narrative around to it. And a lot of that also applies to railroading. Like it's just, I think it's hard to like. I don't think it's about railroading versus open world / sandbox. I think it's just being able to tell a story without showing the walls.
Yeah, exactly. It's how good are you at hiding the strings from the puppet, and like I said, that's not. You have to kind of approach railroading with the mindset of it's not necessarily a bad. Like at the end of the day, your players are going to be like, okay, let's do the thing. Let's kill
the goblins.
Yeah, let's kill the bad guy. Okay, I found the sword. But you as a DM, your task is to make that rewarding. Like the finding those story beats should be a reward. And 9 times out of 10, that's where you're like, oh hey, you uncovered this detail about something. Here's a level or some crap like that. And that's kind of the easy way to reward stuff, but then it can be a reward, Yeah. So it's really just a matter of how well you hide it and how well you reward finding said rail.
That goblin comment reminded me of the kobold thing. You're like, let's go kill some kobolds, and then it turned into this whole political thing.
It's like, okay, I was totally expecting you guys to be like, like fucking kobolds, but then like, wait a minute. We can give these kobolds gainful employment. I'm like, what?
See, railroading isn't that bad when you throw a left curve to your...
No, it's really not. And just we must free these kobolds from the shackles of capitalism. Wait a second.
Yeah, okay. We'll give you guys a minute.
Yeah. That's like last session when Howard's like, is this a radicalized fox? I'm like, it is now.
That was great. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
So railroading, it's not a bad thing. Don't overdo it, and when you do it tastefully. Don't try to have an expositor in your session. Really,
wizards.
Yeah, really. Oh, man, dude, this this campaign, the Rhyme had a really bad one. I'm like, nope, you're
really?
out. I'm just getting rid of you entirely. And afterwards, I'm going to tell you guys what it was, and you'll be like, seriously? Probably, because it was just like this guy literally shows up and be like, I'm going to blow this whole thing wide open, despite all your efforts and shit. So,
damn, like, that sounds like a really bad one.
It's introduces himself saying, I don't have time to explain, you have to follow me.
Yeah, I mean we had one.
I seriously think that's what.
Sorry, you were freezing there for a second.
No, I'm done.
Oh, I say like I think for me there's a like the one I remember the most is the one in Storm King's Thunder and Avernus, because there were two very like the sorceress in the tower and Avernus, and in Storm King's Thunder there was a fucking giant that had a floating castle. Those two, but even then it wasn't that drastic.
What's up? You kind of froze there.
Dang it.
Well, I froze, so you froze for me.
Yeah. I was pointing out that
oh my god, Discord, come on.
Oh, you froze really bad now.
It's freezing up real bad.
Yeah.
Ah! Are we good?
Maybe?
Nope,
no.
not. How about now?
Yeah, you seem to be back.
Okay, good. All right. So I mean, so like yeah, right. So like a really good way to if you want to avoid that, just like I said, just go through the narrative. Like you as a you should probably read the book at least. Obviously, like you're not a psychopath, but read it. Like read the book, and then be like, oh, okay, this is good. I'm gonna take this and kind of natural place somewhere else.
Right.
So that way you can kind of like this is a good narrative. Like I think Rime of the Frostmaiden actually has a good story. It's just the way it was told. Like if I were to run it the way it was told, it would be really kind of clunky. And I'm like, okay, there are ways we can kind of smooth that. Not all the campaigns are going to be like Curse of Strahd level. Like, no, this is a villain, and you fucking know he's a villain because, like, like what's the difference between a villain and a supervillain? Presentation,
Yeah.
So, because I'll be honest with you, I think Curse of Strahd still has like one of the best stories where it's like, no, you are. Like, unfortunately, as player characters, you are not the main character, kinda, right. But
Strahd steals the show.
Yeah, this is Strahd's game, and you'll know it. But but I mean, so just take that narrative and like any moments that it feels rocky and bumpy, smooth it out how you see fit, because it is, as the players should not be reading the campaign source material. They should not be. Reading the campaign source material. So take that narrative and just kind of fold it and stretch it and do whatever you want with it to make it seem more natural.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it always comes down to the fact that like we tend to forget that players don't know.
Yeah. And that's why sometimes you might have to have like a moment in your campaign where like you're walking by some townsfolk and people are like, oh, hey, did you hear about that white moose and stuff like that? I'd be like, oh yeah, that's right, we have to go find the white moose.
Right. Let's not forget about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
it's
you were freezing there for a second.
I know my computer's I don't know what's going on with it. I don't know if it needs like an update or something, but I'm gonna restart it after this because
yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I do agree. There's definitely good ways to do it. There's bad ways to do it. You cannot force it. Don't take player agency out of the question, solution, whatever, out of the
equation
problem. equation. Jesus, man, like my brain is not here today.
That's okay. We're DMs. We come up with stuff on the spot.
On the spot like that. We're so good. And like you said, like there's so many ways to like just morph the story to what you want it to be without the players feeling like they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Or they're being pushed in a certain direction.
Yeah.
So I don't think railroading is bad. I think it's actually necessary in a lot of cases. And I think we do it a lot. And just there's different levels of doing it. There's the obvious like, oh, well, fog, you'll die if you step into it. And then there's like the more subtle ones, like you were saying, where you like smooth things out in the back end.
Yeah.
To make it move the way you want it to move. DMs are the puppet master. Yeah. You just tend to forget that the players don't know all the strings. Where the strings are. If
your campaign has a start, middle, and end, it's by nature going to have railroad. Like, you know, and unless you're doing like some weird experimental, like, hey, let's just like roll on tables and that's how our quest is going to go. Like, there's no way you can avoid railroads, but you can make it a better experience for your players, you know.
Yeah. That makes me think, like, man, like, do you think it'll be worth exploring an exercise like that with our group, where everything is just?
If it was something like, let's take a long weekend and we'll just throw stuff on the wall and see what sticks. Yeah, maybe, you know.
Yeah.
Just
I don't know. I think it could be like a fun exercise, especially like a small adventure.
Yeah, just have like a simple premise, like, oh, this is like a crazy wizard made up this dungeon, so everything changes, and that's when you just start rolling on the DM tables for room design and stuff. Like, this room doesn't make sense because it's not supposed to.
Yeah. You can't comprehend the depth of this wizard's mind.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so like just something like that, and then we're like, okay, sure, why not? This room's underwater now because.
Also, well, I also think that, I mean, I think our group is comfortable enough to like. Just do like something like literally an improv exercise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's just do it. Like, let's not worry about backstory or narrative or lore. Let's just okay. like you'll find something, you roll on a table. What does that mean to you? I don't know. All right, we'll figure that out along the way.
Yeah.
So.
Shit. All right, Andrew. So now we move on to our favorite section of our podcast segment,
the news.
I don't have any.
Okay.
Well, I kind of have one like in next Tuesday. Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel is releasing, so there's that.
Did they release any news on like the next evolution of D&D or something like that?
No, they kind of went sizzled out after that news. after they released the news.
Like, I heard there was something about like a tweet where Chris Perkins and oh god, who's the other guy's name? I'm drawing a blank right now. Like the other big name of Wizards. Like they were like, oh yeah, we just came up with a whole bunch of mechanics and we had a really good writing session, something like that, yada yada. But like,
no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, but I mean, it was really just more like a teaser thing. Like, it wasn't like anything, you know.
We're still working.
Yeah, no, I promise you guys, we're totally not just taking an extended vacation.
we're totally not just playing D&D all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally their job, so whatever. That's cool. That's cool, I guess. That must be nice.
Oh man. No. Session highlights.
Okay, so we had 2 sessions in between this episode and the last.
We did?
Yes, we normally do. Okay, all right. I think you might have forgot how time works. So last session, or sorry, no, the session before last, there was a really long and for some reason people described it as stressful. I didn't think it was stressful. There was a really long like combat, like most of the session was combat.
Yeah.
And you guys escaped the Black Cabin. I keep wanting to say Black Lodge because of Twin Peaks. But you guys escaped the Black Cabin. And it's like a ramshackle hut compared to what it used to be now, even after the initial explosion. But my personal session highlight was when because I described it as like it's like really ominous, and it was like right after like a super heavy blizzard, so things look terrible, and like the sky is like dark and like broiling with clouds and crap, and Barry's just trying to cut the tension. So she goes up to everyone and just like starts asking questions about them, and every time she gets like a really sad backstory,
Yeah.
And she's like, "All right, so what's your deal?" And like she asks Octavio, and Octavio's like, "Well, my grandma's got really like severe dementia and stuff."
No, yeah, she asked specifically how's your grandma.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what she asked.
yeah, and you're like, she's not doing well. She's been really sick a lot and stuff like that. And she's like, "Oh, okay." And then she asks somebody something else. I think she was like trying to talk to Mittens, and Mittens is doing.
To Gar, no, she was trying to
Oh
get
yeah,
something out of Gar.
yeah, Gar, and Gar is being dead quiet. Gar like you have a better chance of getting a conversation from a rock than you, not the bird. Yeah, okay, you have better chances of getting a conversation from a stone than you do from Gar. And then she's like, and then she goes up to Swift, like, "Okay, so what's your deal?" And then we literally transition into a flashback. And it's like this ultra tragic part of like Swift's backstory.
I love it. That was so good. That was also one of my session highlights. It's just like, we're coming out of this like battle. We're tired. We're like just marching back to town so we can like relax for a little bit.
And you're covered in cuts because all these methods were fucking exploding and stuff like that.
We're just pathetic like on the way back, and poor Beery is trying so hard to like lighten up the mood, and it's just not working.
It's just nothing's working. And I in my head, I imagine the like actual transition for the flashback was something that Beery could see. She's like, no, wait. and then so we go to this flashback of how what's Swift's history, like what does Swift have against the Tiger Tribe and stuff like that. And we kind of and we find out like the Tiger Tribe like attacked his like adopted mom and kind of stuff like that, and like blah blah blah. And it's just like man, it's just you're just asking the wrong questions, Beery, and stuff like that. And she's like, "Okay, you know what? I'm done. I'm just gonna stay quiet for the rest of this trip."
Yes, that was so good. My other session highlight was actually when we make it back to what's the name of that tavern?
The Lucky Liar.
So we get there and like first of all, Beery is carrying me this whole time because she's like done with me messing around.
No, it's not that. It's that her like she actually described that her maternal instincts are so powerful. She's like, I have to take care of this actual child.
Oh yeah.
We have in the crib.
Oh, that's right. Because I read the letter. We read that letter from my grandpa. But like we get to the tavern and like she's carrying me the whole time, and she goes to get beer for the group, and like we're all like I'm holding 2 beers with my hand as she's holding like a tray with more beers, and we get to a table. Meanwhile, Mittens is like in the back room trying to like thieves can't his way.
Mittens is getting like interrogated slash like
it's like this really intense scene in the back room, like knife against the throat, against the like this whole thing happening, and then like it cuts to me and teaching Swift how to use the proper spoon to get the flavor out of like a beer cheese soup. And we just go on this like rant. It's like, no, you gotta air it. and then apparently now I have like a full silverware set that I bring with me everywhere.
And I even went so far as to describe it like when the chatter dies down in the tavern, you hear like, oh god, like in the back room, like as this weird little like not quite fight is happening.
Yeah, and Swift is like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. And I'm just like trying to like teach him how to really appreciate food. Meanwhile, Mittens is getting his butt handed to him in the back room.
Not really. It wasn't.
Actually, you're right.
Yeah. He did well. He did good enough. He passed the opening interview. So
yeah. But, he flipped the knife on her and stuff. It was pretty cool.
My personal highlight for that session was Mittens revealing that he wears a giant mitten when he does B&Es. And I don't know why, but that hit me at the right time, and I couldn't stop laughing for like a full 5 minutes.
I can only imagine like the thumb. It was just like,
like, all right, guys, let's do this thing. And he just put on a giant mitten.
I love how our group is like simultaneously the silliest thing and the whole freaking adventure, and at the same time the most serious, depressing
Mittens in particular, because Swift has been pretty consistent. Octavio kind of goes back and forth. Barry has been pretty consistent. We still don't know what Gar's deal is.
Yeah, Gar.
But Mittens is like it's like that meme of the little timekeeper thing for music where it's like super dark, super silly, super dark, super silly. It's just like going back and forth. But we might find out what Gar's deal is.
I can't wait, because it's been the only mystery that hasn't unraveled quite yet.
And it's so funny because people will be like, okay, look, we all have a secret. Like we literally all have a secret. That's part of session 0. What's yours? And Howard's like, I don't know. I just been here this whole time.
Wait, so he still has a secret, right? See, like, I thought he didn't have a secret.
No,
he's been so good at keeping the secret a secret.
Like, everybody has started with a secret. Everybody has a secret.
But it's been so long. I thought like maybe he already, like, the secret already came out or something. Like,
there's actually the only ones whose secrets have been 100% revealed is yours and Heather's.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone else is like, there's still elements. They're like, ooh, when are these gonna play?
Okay.
So
yeah, because like, well, mine was just a stone, so I was like,
yeah, I mean,
here it is.
Yeah, I kind of
with a side quest.
Yeah. I got a rock.
His name is Steve. I drew like eyes and little smiles.
like on the actual like orc engraving, you put like little like googly eyes on
googly eyes.
So when you shake it, like the eyes spin around. This ancient like orc relic that's like been passed down from lineage to lineage. You just fucking hot glue some googly eyes on it. Chief Ritner's like, man, you know what? From the afterlife's like, I really hope this pays out.
Oh man,
oh,
so good.
Oh shit.
This campaign has been so all over the place when it comes to humor.
It really has.
It's great.
But I also really appreciate the fact that when shit gets serious, like everyone's like, all right, what's raining at?
Yeah.
You know? So
yeah, for sure. All right. Do you have anything else?
That's it. That's all I got.
All right, me too. Well, thank you everybody for joining us one more time. Another episode of Attack of Opportunity. If you're listening to us on a Wednesday, please make sure to join us on Twitch and Facebook for a live stream of Rime of the Frostbitten.
If you watch the live stream of this episode, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we had a lot of like technical difficulties, but it's fine. It's fine. The edited audio will be up this Wednesday coming up.
Yeah.
But yeah, we release new episodes every other Wednesday for the podcast, and we try to stream live our games every Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure to tune in for that. Like us on Facebook, like us on Twitch. Make sure to leave us a review wherever you're listening to us. We will truly appreciate it.
Yep.
But with that, thank you for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. And as always, keep on gaming. Bye.
Bye.